Every second, every minute, every hour, and every day, time doesn't just tick away. It's a countdown to political decisions that shape.
Okay, welcome back. And our guest this time is Mr. Cletus Obun. He's an academic and a journalist. A fine morning to you, Cletus.
Thank you very much, Yuri, for having me on this platform again.
Our pleasure. I don't know, what do you make of what we are calling the EFCC Kogi Saga that people read about yesterday and day before yesterday? The whole, it seemed like a very bizarre kind of a narration. The former governor, in his own time, had gone to the EFCC. He had been allowed somehow to leave without being questioned. And then later on, it's reported that EFCC now made a rapprochement and tried to effect an arrest. Indeed, shots were actually fired. And so that's here we are. So give me, first of all, what you make of all of that.
Well, I can tell you clearly that what began as a farce is developing into a tragicomic display by high actors of government and high actors, state actors. EFCC must have to recalibrate its image and bring back confidence and trust of the public that it is not into a buying and selling and into fighting proxy wars. Because what has played out in the last 72 hours can be nothing but a proxy war carried out on behalf of some unseen hand. Otherwise, it is rather unfortunate, very damaging to the image of EFCC to allow itself to degenerate to the point where it is acting a script that is already clearly understandable and unacceptable and beyond professional conduct of an institution that has enjoyed so much confidence of the public. Because each time a public officer is misbehaving in office, the first threat you get is EFCC will visit you. And that should bring everybody to his toes and put everybody in his place. But these days it does appear that it is now being used to engage in some circus shows and some form of melodramatic displays. Otherwise, what has happened to Yahaya Bello, between Yahaya Bello and the EFCC would have developed from a comedy to a tragedy. How? Here was a man who was declared wanted by a competent court, by competent agencies of government. And the caveat was simple. Any Nigerian, he didn't say serving officers, elected officers, or appointed officers, or farmers, or tappers, or drinkers. Any Nigerian who can give information that can lead to the arrest of a wanted felon should come to any security agencies closest to him. One of the people, after 6 or 5 months plus, who did that was the governor of Kogi State, Usman Ododo. He brings in the person you claim you are looking for. And then you now say the manner in which he came to you was beyond your protocol. Are criminals treated with protocols? If Yahaya Bello was found in church, in a mosque, or in a market, or in a convoy of a governor, and he stops to buy oranges, by declaring him wanted as a criminal, is he not entitled to be arrested? Is he not supposed to be arrested? Then he walks into a premises. What was the professional thing to do? It's not to walk up to the governor and tell him, we want to interview him by our protocols, you can wait for him here. Give the governor his office, thank him for first of all bringing him, and then take him in, interrogate the man. If you are not satisfied, walk back to the governor and announce to him, Mr. Governor, sorry, the man you brought, we are not done with him. You may wish to go back. We will call you when we are done, or release him to you when we are done with him. Professional way to go about it. And the man leaves, and then you continue with your interrogation of the man you had declared wanted. Did it at any time occur to you, from the footages you saw, did any Nigerian see any resistance of a man like Ododo trying to shield the man from arrest? if he was to be arrested or to be interrogated. In any case, having walked to a place, what is the position of our law?
Yeah.
What is the law? What is the procedure in our administrative justice law or criminal justice law? What does it say? That a man who offers himself, who brings himself after being declared wanted, can no longer be arrested. But because EFCC is bent on drama and media trial, they turn the entire exercise into a melodrama that is of a farcical nature. How? By allowing him go back with the governor and telling them that at any time they may need him, and therefore if they need him, they will call him. The governor leaves with the man he brought back to Kogi Governor House and was waiting. From the narration we get now, they now make the call at about midnight and say, where are you? And they get to meet him and go there to negotiate an arrest, not the return or visit of Yahaya Bello. That is to say, they were begging the governor to allow them act and arrest, not even arrest him, that they should act as if he was arrested. What was he going to give to EFCC if Yahaya Bello is arrested or surrenders himself? What's the difference? You are looking for a man, the man is already with you, and he's sitting with a governor who has immunity. He does not have immunity, and you have now met him. Is it not to request that he should come back to the office? Was it not for you to request that he should be arrested? What was the drama? And you ended up shooting in a sitting governor's premises. You deprive the man of his privacy, go ahead to threaten his life, and then proceed to engage in a shootout. If those other officers now, it shows also the interagency relationship in which police against police, DSS against DSS, coming into effect arrest in a man who has immunity. If Ododo was not a gentleman, if he was not the kind of person that he is, I know sitting governors today who, if you try that, there will be a bloodbath in that area. But we thank Ododo for being who he is. We thank Yahaya Bello as well for acting himself and giving himself up. But we want to ask that EFCC, and this is exactly also what we are doing. We are sitting in a tenuous security situation, such as you are seeing in Zamfara and the Northwest. And today, the Minister of State has relocated to make a war theater, take his war theater to Sokoto to deal with the situation in the Northeast. And the governor, who is to benefit from that sitting, because presently there is aerial bombardment by the military, both in the air and on the ground, taking out bandits. Meanwhile, 2G is sitting in Zamfara, and the governor of Zamfara is moving from filling station TV station to TV station, trying to disparage the Minister of State of Defense. What kind of childish behavior is that? What kind of juvenile conduct is that? What kind of display, what kind of politicization of security is that? These are things that should be condemned by the Nigerian people, especially in the media spaces like this. He should be condemned and not be given and glorified. The glorification of the inglorious cannot be sustained, especially by people like Dauda in Zamfara State and by people like the EFCC. They cannot continue to toy with our security at a time our security forces are stretched, trying to occupy the space, trying to do civil society groups, or trying to do civil jobs and go ahead to do the territorial integrity, defending the territorial integrity of Nigeria. The Army Defense Staff, Chief of Defense Staff was seen in Edo State. You are seeing the Army again deploying people to the Northeast and Northwest to say go and stop banditry, and inside Gusau today, people are being kidnapped and abducted. The governor is not interested with over 650 million naira in his kitty as security vote, rather than join his predecessor to see how to stem the tide in that area. He is going to disparage him and talk. Meanwhile, on his own, he is facing the Disney money laundering case. He has not even finished with that. He's talking about EFCC. Is he an EFCC operative? What's his business with the EFCC? He's getting over 7 billion. When in the entire period of in Zamfara State for 4 years of Matawali, the present Minister of Defense State, is now was just 246 million for 4 years. He's earning 117 billion in 12 months. So all this one tells us that our security is being undermined by state actors who should take responsibility for our own security and welfare.
Excellent. You know, I was going to ask you, Cletus, your thoughts on what if, although the governor, to my understanding, or maybe I missed it, he hasn't really made, I'm talking about Governor Dodo now. What if he were to proffer the position that, look, he felt like politically between a rock and a hard place. And, you know, he himself would have had his own security detail. When you go to the EFCC, there again will be security people around. You know, so I was going to ask what your thoughts were there. But in the meantime, Mr. George in Lagos has called in. So let me just put him on. Good morning, Mr. George.
Normally, I don't like solid.
George.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Carry on, please.
Yes. Let me start from Edo State. Tomorrow is the D-Day, and the pillars I'm getting on the ground is that of a secured environment. I hope the police carries out what they have promised to do.
Okay.
By Sunday, you and I will talk, and I will be celebrating the exit of a tyrant. Now, Uncle Yori, talking about EFCC, I was just going to say that as soon as Obaseki leaves office, EFCC should arrest him. But the way Amanda, the EFCC chairman, is going about it, because for questions, you will never see FBI making noise about somebody they want to arrest or how they are going about their investigations. It's not for public consumption. If somebody has done something wrong, EFCC should simply go ahead and do their work. You see a situation where they want to arrest a politically exposed person, then media camera will follow the EFCC people to be looking for the person, announcement to be made beforehand, as if the trial is in the media space. This thing must stop. It is either the EFCC chairman does his job or he gets out of there. We cannot have an investigative organization that doesn't seem to have the right strategy. What the gentleman, the speaker, is saying is what many people are saying behind closed doors, that he is acting, a script. And if you give people room to be making such suspicions, then your credibility will become a problem. We cannot afford to have an EFCC that its credibility is in doubt.
Indeed.
And the EFCC chairman should do everything to make sure he doesn't put that kind of injection into EFCC.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. Thank you. Really appreciate your calling in. Cletus, as I was saying, I was going to ask you what your thoughts are on where EFCC has positioned itself. Is it a good plea that we felt like we were between a rock and a hard place? Because you've spoken about the law, and the head of EFCC is a lawyer, and there are quite a number of lawyers in there. In fact, they must be working day in, day out with the law. They can't do very much without the law. So how does EFCC come back in a public relations sort of a way from this, the way you describe it, looking like a tragicomedy?
Let me say this. It has been part of our debacle in the last 8 years that we have had to deal with false starts in our information management system. I must confess this. As a government, we have a deluge of information management deficit, which is creating a very bad image, because all that this government is doing and has been doing, right? Nobody in Nigeria knows that you can drive on a 2-lane road from Abuja to Makurdi. It is nowhere on any media space, even social media. Today again, you can find that we are busy discussing EFCC and its hiccups and its misfiring and its misconduct in terms of its management of its own affairs. Because information management has been taken for granted. Public relations management is like it's for everybody. You can read political science and become a journalist. You can read the sociology and become a journalist. So nobody knows it. As journalists, don't we do undercover jobs? Do you go start announcing, I'm going to be in Edo to see who will be buying votes? Do you announce that? And today people have even gotten cameras to where you can walk into a place and do all your videoing and walk away. That is an undercover job. That is what EFCC should be doing. But instead what we are seeing is long cameras and seizure of cameras, as they did to some TV crews that were there trying to cover that event. I feel very, very sad on a day like this.
Permit me to butt in a bit. I'm so sorry about that, but Yusuf in Yola has called in too. Good morning, Yusuf.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, what I want to add on this is the fact that, look, public officers in this country have been going wild for a long time, and it has gone unabated, unchecked rather. you know, the same Yahaya Bello who came with Governor Ododo 2 days ago to a EFCC, or was it yesterday? I can't even remember. Was the same person Ododo was shielding from arrest. You know, they gave them safe haven. Unfortunately, if anybody comes to the media to denigrate EFCC, I think it's rather unfair because, look, everybody has their own set of responsibilities in this country. Is it too hard for you to submit yourself for questioning? Did they say they are going to kill Yahaya Bello? Nobody said that. But Yahaya Bello can simply submit himself to EFCC. You went yesterday or 2 days ago and they released you. If they went to arrest you in the evening again, so what? You know, I'm not happy with EFCC as well, but come on. Public office holders have sworn an oath over a period of time that they will do such and such and such. And if they are not able to do it, then please, what are we kidding ourselves from? You know, it's not so hard for you to submit yourself if truly you're clean. In fact, if I were to be in office and anybody should in fact question my integrity, I will resign the office first and clear my name. But this is a man who is not in office, who does not want to clear his name, who has his own governor keeping him as a fugitive. A sworn public official. Uncle Yori, this needs to be looked in. That is my take.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Yusuf, for calling in.
Can I quickly respond to this?
Please. Go ahead.
Okay, please. This narrative is wrong-headed. It is illogical and is patently misleading. If EFCC declared a man wanted and said any Nigerian who finds him should bring him, and he was brought to their premises, at what point did Ododo shield him from being taken in, even into custody? At what point did they engage him and Ododo resisted? Ododo rather did a job for EFCC to say, you say anybody who finds him should bring him. And you are calling a man like that a fugitive who was in court and has been in court and has been regularly represented by a duly registered, certified lawyer in Nigeria, certified by the Supreme Court to practice law, and has been in court trying to protect his fundamental rights as the law requires of him. When at a point he now feels that it was being delayed and that he was being unnecessarily accused and he was receiving the bashing, he decided to give himself up through the governor, and the governor now says, here he is. What was EFCC supposed to do at that point? Is to take him in and tell the governor, thank you for bringing this. If there was a bounty put on him, Ododo should have collected that bounty 2 days ago. That is to say, you brought the man we have been looking for. If you had said we are giving anybody who brings him 20 million, Ododo would have claimed it because he's also a Nigerian first before he became a governor. He's not on trial, he's facing no trial. The man was facing trial you are looking for, he has brought him to you. So to now give the impression that he was a fugitive when he was in court, represented by a lawyer, and nobody had questioned that, and on his own, he now goes to the governor and says, I am ready to go and submit it, let's go together. EFCC ought to be professional about it and take him from the governor and tell the governor you can go in peace. He told them, in fact, they told him to go and that they would call him. And when they called him, they went to rather meet him and said he should act as if they wanted to arrest him. Why would we arrest a man? Once he has surrendered himself and come to EFCC premises, by our laws, he can no longer be arrested. You can only invite him. You can no longer arrest him. And when they talk about the protocol of coming into EFCC, it is wrong to deal with that situation at that point and start narrating it as if the man ran away, now he's coming back. Once he appeared before EFCC, there is nothing EFCC would have done other than either take him in and question him or ask him to go and come at a day they will invite him. So all they needed, even when they met in Kogi Government House in Asokoro, they were begging the governor. If they had begged, they tell the governor we want to take him back, there would have been nothing, that would not have been an arrest. You can no longer arrest a man who has surrendered himself to authorities. It is not in our laws. So to narrate the fact that the former governor was running away or he has been caught, he was not caught. You can no longer arrest him after he had come to your office. Yeah, exactly. That's not the position of our law. Our jurisprudence does not allow that.
There are those who are the opinion now that the EFCC has quite frankly bungled this case. That is the opinion that they have, maybe unintentionally, but why, as you have just expressed yourself, why is the EFCC handling this matter this way? Now, you hear in a derogatory sense that, not in a positive sense, in Nigeria, anything can happen. Now, what fits the bill better than this, for example? And considering the image sort of repair that Nigeria requires, maybe it's probably, you can say it's we precipitate for the presidency to have come in on this. But certainly, do you not think that we should be hearing from the presidency on all of this? In fact, as you I'm sure you would have heard, there have been articles headlined by you know, the EFCC chairman might need to lose his job if indeed we are all on the same page in terms of it being a new what is this thing now? You know, a new agenda, that things are not like it was before.
In fact, the only thing we should hear from the presidency now is that heads have rolled for the gross mismanagement of a simple operation like arresting a suspect. He is still a suspect before our laws. I mean, Yahaya Bello. So he has no business going to be hounded as if he was a fugitive. He was in court saying, look, my rights are to be... If at any stage, even in a trial, in a competent court, you find that the judge has likelihood of bias, our laws, our jurisprudence permit you to seek to move that case away from that judge. So also it is that an investigative police officer, an investigative agency, once it is suspected of going overboard, of being biased, of taking this beyond the bounds of professionalism, they can also be asked to quit and that investigation handed over to our next agency. That is done. That is why when the army arrests bandits, they hand them to the police. When they arrest immigrants, they take them to the immigration people and all that. This is interagency collaboration that is expected of professionals. So when you begin to dance the Makaba dance in the marketplace because you have an agenda, an underhanded agenda, because if it was about Yahaya Bello refunding 70 billion, it is a simple, straightforward matter. Have we not seen Ojus Okalu jailed? Have we not seen Jolly Nyame jailed? Have we not seen such other former? Obiano, as he was leaving office at the airport to go to the US, he was arrested. Quietly, do you need to tell us? Do we need to know the procedure you took? All we need to see is they were in court and you have concluded your investigation. If you have not concluded, don't take anybody to court. That is why most of the cases, 70%, 80% of EFCC cases always end up in the dustbin by compromise, mismanagement, and misconduct. Because they are always filed prematurely. We hear EFCC filing 10 cases, the next time is 72 cases. They only took 3 count charges from Ibori out of 172 that were taken in Nigeria. They took only 3 counts and convicted him in UK. Why are we so unprofessional? Why are we so deliberately unprofessional? Deliberately so. Because I find it very curious that a lawyer sitting as EFCC chairman could not understand the simple fact that a suspect who is declared wanted and comes and surrenders himself is free from any further arrest. It's not a simple part of our laws. It's not part of our statutes. Then you now find a situation again, like we said, we are dealing with a tenuous political situation in which our country is undergoing serious security challenges. This type of breaches should not be allowed. And anybody who does that, heads must roll. That's the only thing we want to hear from the presidency. We are not waiting to hear them call to ask any question because the matters are before the public and they are there for everybody to see both on social media, on real-time television and TV stations and newspapers. The reportage has been perfect and there has been a gross act of unprofessional conduct coming from the EFCC. The image done to EFCC will require a professional public relations outfit to go back and fix the image of EFCC as it is today.
Indeed. I mean, that's the way most, as the lawyers themselves say, right-thinking members of society will view the case. It just beggars belief. You want a person, as you stated, as we all know, he didn't show for whatever reason for some time, but he has shown now. You now allow him to go. You now say he is still wanted. He was in your office earlier. You're saying he is still wanted. So the ordinary citizen is beginning to wonder, what exactly are we teaching our children in schools as to law, as to truth, as to right from wrong, when unframed mind, undeveloped minds can see that, but what do you mean? What kind of a game is this? He was there, now you've let him go, now you go and approach him later on. I don't know, but as you said, maybe one needs to hear from the presidency because the world has become a global village. Everybody has heard about this particular case, and there are some of us that are very pained by this whole snide remark that, oh, in Nigeria, anything can happen. That does look like one of those anything kind of.
Precisely why, yes, for our international partners, it is dangerous because people will be afraid to invest in Nigeria, believing that to investigate crime here, anything just goes. And people who are failing in their duty now start using others as scapegoats in order to shine. As is happening, I gave you the example in Zamfara now. A man is sitting over billions in 12 months. Rather than perform and keep the security of the place, he's busy chasing his predecessor in order to take attention away. The kind of thing that almost was happening in Rivers. So as far as I'm concerned, such public officers, that is where the presidency must come in, because now being a sovereign in a subnational like Zamfara State, that young man is now a governor, so he has immunity by our laws. So what he needs to do is a presidential caution. And also, the security agencies must tell him that what you are about to do is distracting the security apparatus from carrying out its functions to secure the people of Nigeria, especially in the northwest, where there is presently a flashpoint for the military carrying out severe operations where they are succeeding and almost taking out everybody. Tuji is sitting in Zamfara, and he needs to get that man out. Instead of doing that, bringing out the security vote to support the security agencies, he is rather taking out on the predecessor and distracting attention from the fact that he's keeping bandits inside the state capital where he himself is resident as if he's immune. What's he doing in Abuja and TV stations? Doesn't he have even information officers? Doesn't he have SS, DGs, and even Commissioner for Information? What is he doing there? So I think that clearly we have a challenge, and that challenge is the quality of people we put in government. When people are mature, when people are not strong enough and intellectually and behaviorally in terms of their conduct, strong enough and good enough to be in office, we should avoid it and just pushing everybody into the public space and then creating a behemoth of crisis for us, which we can even easily avoid.
We're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much, Cletus Obun, journalist and academic. Appreciate your time and indeed your perspectives on this particular topic. Thank you very much. So that's our program today. Do please join us on Monday for a fresh edition. And of course, stay with TVC right through the weekend for updates on the Edo governorship election tomorrow. Have a great weekend. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.